Man United stream. Hope you're doing well. Saturday afternoon, and we've got transfer news for you. Yes, we have. It's kicking off. It's all happening. It looks like the Manchester clubs are going to fight it out for the best midfielders right now available in the Premier League. Things are hotting up. We've also going to be talking about Rashford and whether he could possibly be on his way back to United. Look, Barcelona are playing silly buggers with us right now. They don't want to pay for him, but they desperately need him, especially now that Rafinha has been injured. I think he's out for, 4 months? I can't remember. 4 weeks or 4 months. I'll have to go back and check in a minute for you guys. But we've got lots of news, lots to discuss. It's going to be a busy Saturday afternoon show, so make sure you chill out. Go and get yourself a cup of tea, relax, because it's going to be an interesting show. We've got lots and lots to discuss. But first of all, let's talk about the big transfers that are now confirmed. United are in for Sandro Tonali. It's confirmed. It was confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, and once he does do that, then there's little doubt that United are in for Tonali, man. Look, for me, I'm going to be honest with you. The rumours started about 3 weeks ago, right? 3 weeks ago, rumours started that United were looking at Tonali as an option, but then I was thinking, I don't know whether he's going to move to Italy or not, but now Fabrizio Romano has confirmed, yes, his intentions were to move back to Italy. He would like to move back to Italy. However, the biggest problem he's going to have is that United and City and maybe some other clubs are going to make offers that Newcastle are more likely to accept than what a Serie A club out there will make an offer for Tonali for, right? They'll kind of blow them out of the water. They will not be considering offers which are almost half of what maybe City or Arsenal or United are willing to pay. Now, one other thing that Fabrizio Romano made very clear, and that's why I'm saying, look, this is why Tonali is going to end up staying in the Premier League, is because Fabrizio Romano says that the clubs in the Premier League are willing to pay huge amounts of money to get the deal done. Now, I don't think that includes Man United. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it includes Man United. I think Man United will be looking to put an offer forward, but they're not going to make an offer more than what City are going to make, unless City have got other options. Now, any other club, if we were up against any other club, I would be quietly confident, whether it's Liverpool or Arsenal. I'd still say, look, we've got a chance because United have got form. United can go and outbid these other clubs, and these other clubs might not have the pulling power that United have got, despite Arsenal maybe winning the league, despite Liverpool, winning the league last season and being in Champions League football. Maybe not next season, but this season. So the problem I have with City is that players don't necessarily look at the club and move for Man City. They don't look at Man City and say, right, okay, we're moving because it's got a club with lots of heritage and it's the best club ever. No, they move partly because they want to work with the best manager right now in the world. Arguably the best manager ever behind Sir Alex Ferguson. But and that is Pep, without a doubt, man. If you're a player, that's what you hear from all the players. There's an aura about Pep, and all the players want to play for him. And so if you're a player from another club, you want to experience that. You want to experience playing under a manager who is regarded as one of the very best managers in world football. So, of course, you want to play for him. That's why I think that is why lots of players end up moving. And this is why even Tonali, I look at Tonali and I think if it's a 50-50 and United match the bid which City put down, then Tonali looks across the both Man United, Manchester clubs and thinks, right, okay, on one hand, I've got a club that's got stable ownership that have for years put in funds and invested big money into the club. They're not going to back away right now. And they've got one of the best managers in world football. Which club do I choose? Or do I choose a club in Man United which have got owners who completely don't give a crap about the club, 75% ownership? Then you got Ineos, who portray to be owners that care about what's going on at the club, but they really don't care, right? They don't care. We've seen that. They're just there I don't know what they're there for, actually. I really don't. I think partly, are they there for the money? I just think he's there for the kudos, right? He gets from being the Manchester United owner. No one really knew who Jim Ratcliffe was, despite him being one of the richest men in Britain. No one knew him until he turned up to sign or buy Manchester United. That's when everyone was like, okay, sit up, take notice, who's this Jim Ratcliffe? And that in itself gives you a lot of kudos, a lot of money. People, if they know who you are, Ineos have, without a doubt, have been put on the map by taking over United. Before that, no one knew what the company Ineos was, but now everybody knows what Ineos is, right? So I think that's what he's done it for. That's what Jim Ratcliffe has done it for. I don't think he's actually done it to improve United. He says he's a Man United fan, but I don't think he really cares. I don't think he cares about everything else going on. But anyway, coming back to this Tonali news, right? Because Tonali is the one that everyone's talking about, and we got from Fabrizio Romano last night that, look, United are in for him, and they're working hard to get it done. But on the same page, we're hearing that City are also working hard and looking at Tonali. Now, I'm not sure whether they're doing this to put United off the Anderson scent or whether they're seriously considering Tonali and Anderson in the same summer transfer window. I would not put it past Man City. They can afford it. They can go out there and get 3 midfielders if they want. And if they are looking forward to a transfer ban, they might do that. They might say, look, we cannot just rely on bringing in Anderson. We might just have to bring in an experienced player in Tonali as well, and maybe a third midfielder. We maybe bring 3 midfielders in just to cover ourselves. And I can see that happening. I really can see that happening. I know many people aren't taking note of these 115 charges and what sanctions City are going to face. But for me, I feel like, yes, they're already forward planning. They already know that this is on the horizon. They could get points deductions, they could get hit with a huge fine and a transfer ban. I think there's a bit of all three. I think that could play an element to it. However, those of you who are hoping that City get a huge points deduction and then they get thrown out of the Premier League, I don't think that's going to happen, guys. I really cannot see that happening. I think the Premier League will be shooting themselves in the foot. They'll be highly criticised because they'll be saying, well, look, you're taking competition out of the Premier League and so forth. So they're not going to do that. They're not going to ruin their own league. But what they will do is, of course, sanction them as much as possible to make sure it sets a precedent for other clubs. Because if they don't sanction City with 115 charges, I think that will just open the floodgates for the rest of the clubs to do exactly what City did. Because they'll be like, well, look what City got. You know, if City don't get sanctioned and they just get a heavy fine and that's all, I'd really think that what you're going to see is other clubs just go and breach the rules as well. They'll just go and do the same thing because they'll know exactly what the worst case scenario is. And if the worst case scenario is a slap on the wrist and a 20-30 million pound fine and a transfer ban for a year, they'll take it. There'll be clubs out there who'll be like, okay, look, this year we can go big. We can go and get these players in. Let's do it. And then face the music later on. So I think City going after Tonali makes sense from that point of view. That's why most of you probably thinking, well, City will not go after Tonali. They'll probably just stick with Anderson and that's it. No, I can believe the story. And it is coming from Fabrizio Romano. It's not just some other random journalist. When it comes from Fabrizio Romano, you know he has got his fingers all over inside this Italian league and Italian players and Italian clubs, and is his national. Tonali is Italian, so is Fabrizio Romano. He will have sources within that camp. He will have sources within Tonali's camp who would have told him, yes, United are working at signing Tonali. They've approached us and we're working on it. So let's watch this space. It's going to be a huge battle if it is against City and United. Now, that's not the only battle. We're hearing again this morning that United are still working on the Anderson deal. They still feel like they can get him. And this is another battle. Now, what happens? Do these clubs both agree to part ways and take one player each. So they say, right, okay, you go after Anderson and we'll take Tonali, and you take Tonali and we'll take Anderson. Are they going to agree kind of, something like that? Are they just going to say, right, okay, we're not going to outbid each other. We're not going to start a bidding war, which is not going to benefit either club. So let's just take a pick. You take Tonali, we take Anderson. I know which one I'd be taking. I know all day long which one I would be taking. And you probably, if you've been watching the Man United stream channel, you'll know exactly which one I would take. However, I don't think it's as simple as that. I think it's going to come down to City making that call. And it just does not fill me with confidence whenever we're going up against City. Any other club, like I say, I don't really care. I think we can still hold our own. We're Man United. We can go out there and really bring something to the table and attract these players to come to United. So, yeah, let's wait and see. Now, other news. I did say this is going to be a busy show this morning. So that's the transfer news. That's the transfer news that United, and that's the headline news, that United are going to go up against City for midfielder replacements. We know that City are going to more than likely lose Rodri this summer. He's only got the last year in his contract. They're not going to wind that down. They're going to end up selling him in the summer. And that, for me, I think what Rodri's already come out and said during the international break in an interview, I think he's already said, yeah, look, come and get me. Come and buy me. So I think Real Madrid will be all over that. They'll be looking at Rodri as a serious option, Ballon d'Or winner coming in. I think it's all there to be done for Real Madrid. And City will be working at bringing in at least one or two replacements for Rodri. They might not know whether Anderson can fill them shoes of Rodri, which they are big shoes to fill. So they might be thinking, wait up, let's go and get Anderson and let's go and get another experienced midfielder just in case Anderson takes a bit longer to settle in and hit the ground running. Whereas if they look at Tonali, an experienced midfielder, I don't think he fits the same criteria as Rodri, but I guess, these rumours will carry on until a decision is made whether United take him or whether City take him. Either way, it is massive, massive news, and we're going to have to watch the news constantly. You're going to have to subscribe to make sure you keep up with all the developments on this deal, because it's going to be one of the biggest deals this summer. Anderson, either to City or to United, and then obviously closely followed by Sandro Tonali, whether that's to United or City. I think I'm more confident at getting Tonali, not just because he's not on City's top of City's shortlist, but I also think that Tonali probably is going to be a little bit cheaper, and I think Tonali would prefer the move to United. That's me just guessing here, by the way. I'm not saying I've heard something about Tonali wanting to move to United. I think if it comes to a choice between Man United and City, and he's left with a decision himself, I think he's going to opt for City. I think he would opt for City because he wants to play with Pep Guardiola. Again, that aura, that manager aura works. And I can see and understand exactly what Roy Keane and Gary Neville say about Michael Carrick. And this is a negative, if we're going to go with Michael Carrick, which is that players move to play for top managers. They like the thought of playing for the Peps and the Enriques, and United will not have that pull with Michael Carrick, will not have that same aura. Again, it's a small point, but it is a point that we need to make. Now, let's head off to breaking news, right? Okay, so breaking news, we got hot off the press, and it is Casemiro. Fabrizio Romano, once again, about 3 hours ago, dropped the bombshell on Casemiro. And guess what it is? It's what we've been saying all along. Casemiro is going to leave United, despite everything that we've been hearing from other channels or fans and everything else that might be suggesting that Casemiro, one more year for Casemiro, he's going to stay. And I said to you, and I was very adamant that, look, my sources have said that Casemiro will not be staying. And this was a very good source. I mean, from the heart of the board, shall we say, right? Okay. And it was confirmed to me that, look, the board haven't discussed Casemiro one time. Not one time. They are happy to allow him to leave. They've projected that into the plans this summer. They know that there's going to be a saving, and they're going to let him go. Now, for me, I think this could be a bad move. This could be a bad move. And I'm going to say it because when I first heard Casemiro leaving, I was like, look, okay, fine, that's fine. But do you know what? If we can't replace Casemiro and we struggle in the summer to go out there and get a like-for-like replacement, we're going to be up shit's creek. No doubt about it. We're going to be struggling. We need to keep our very best players. And right now, he's our best bloody midfielder, hands down. I know he's old. I know he's to the latter part of his career, and he's looking to leave, and he can't handle the pace of the Premier League. But I'm telling you guys, if we cannot go out there and replace him, we're going to miss this guy. Not just in defensive work, but going forward. The amounts of goals he scored, important goals he scored for us this season. It makes a difference, guys. It makes a huge difference for us. But anyway, Casemiro confirms he's leaving Man United. No changes to the plan. He's ready for the new chapter as a free agent from June. My final games at Manchester United will be emotional, he told Adam Crofton on the Athletic FC. Now, look, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me to allow him to leave as a free agent when we could maybe get him for another year, extend it for another year. I wasn't saying this a couple of months ago. A couple of months ago, I was saying, look, we've got Anderson, we've got Baleba, we've got Wharton. We're going to be all fine. We can go and get this. But now I look at it and I think the situation's changed a little bit, guys. It's changed. Man City look like they're ready to take on at least 3 or 4 new midfielders. That screws up the whole transfer market. Then you've got Liverpool. Then you've got Arsenal. Talk about Zubimendi going back to La Liga. These are bad indications for us as a club. We're not going to have it all our own way. The moment these other clubs need players, we're going to have to bid against these clubs. It reduces and impacts our chances of getting these players drastically. Whereas a couple of months ago, we were the only ones who were really saying, right, when we need a new midfielder, Oh, we've got Anderson, we've got Wharton, we've got Baleba. Okay, we've got options. And I was thinking, yeah, we can let go of Casemiro because we've got options. We'll be able to quite easily go out there in the summer and sign at least 2 of these midfielders. But right now, things are not looking the same. Things are not looking like we're going to get it all our way. We're not going to be able to go out there and just tick off the players off our shopping list. It's not going to happen in that way, unfortunately. And I would have loved for United to done business like that, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like there'll be other clubs going after the same players. And our number one nemesis across the city, Man City, will be destroying all our best laid plans. We can have Barada and Wilcox and Vival working on the transfer plans for months. And they might be, we're going to go after this and we're going to go after that. But reality is that we haven't got the financial backing. We haven't got Ineos who will be able to outbid other clubs like City, like Arsenal, I keep on mentioning the same bloody clubs. We all know who they are. We all know that they can quite easily outbid United. And that in itself is bad news. That in itself is not good, man, for Man United, because Man United, everybody then knows, every club knows, it's just Man United. We can go up against them and fight for a player. We can go and get that player because we're only fighting against Man United who haven't got any money. It's just wrong, man. We need to put a message out there this summer. This summer's the summer that we need to put the message out that, look, we're a club that's serious. We're a club that are going to actually go and get these deals done. We're not going to wait around. We're not going to penny pinch, and we're not going to be there thinking, all right, do you know what, we can't afford him, so we won't go and get him. We can't afford him, and we might put in a cheeky bid here, and that's it. No, that's not how you do it, guys. We need to put a marker down. I've been saying it for months now. We need to put a marker down for the rest of the Premier League clubs that says that United are back. United are back, and they mean business. Right now, other rival fans are shitting their pants. I speak to them, and they're worried. They're like, oh shit, yeah, United look like they're coming back. United look like they are now getting to that stage where they mean business. We mean business, but what happens in the bloody summer? What happens when we really do need to make a difference, where we need to rebuild this squad? Now, look, even before looking at our midfield options and saying that we need midfielders, we needed a huge rebuild anyway. We needed a huge rebuild in this club. We cannot go into Champions League football losing the likes of Casemiro, might be even losing the likes of Bruno Fernandes. Let's be honest, that could be on the horizon as well. We've got to be open to what might happen in the summer. Right now, everything is up for grabs. It is seriously concerning as a United fan that we might be losing some of our very best players. We've locked down Harry Maguire from the sounds of it. Harry Maguire, before he played yesterday, he had a decent performance actually yesterday against Uruguay. I'll come to that in a minute because we need to talk about Marcus Rashford as well. Some really interesting news about Marcus Rashford coming as well, so we'll talk about that. But coming back to our best players leaving, if we end up losing one or two of our very best players and then losing our squad players, so Ugarte probably going to leave, Zertsky probably going to leave, Luke Shaw probably going to leave, right? There's some other names in there as well. Malacia, not really a player that we care about, but he's going to leave. There's a few others that I might have missed who will also be leaving. But will we be able to go out there and bring in the squad players as well? Because we're going to have to do several jobs in the summer transfer window. We're not just going after star first team players. We're going to have to go and get at least 5 star first team players, the ones that can come in and start playing immediately. And then we're going to have to go and get some utility players that can sit on the bench, might not be first team players, but they can come on and do a job when we desperately need the squad depth when it comes to Champions League football, when it comes to playing in cup competitions throughout the season. We know if you haven't got a depth in squad, you're going to struggle. And what happens? You end up picking up injuries. You end up picking up lots and lots of injuries. Right now, there's even question marks over De Ligt and Martinez. That's the other problem we've got. We've got serious long-term injuries right now that we're having to deal with. So again, what happens there? What if De Ligt doesn't recover with his back injury, which is, one of those injuries that could last for God knows how long, and it could be a career-ending injury. It could mean the end of the career of De Ligt, right? And this season, I'd argue that he started off as our best centre-back. So we've got concerns. We've definitely got concerns, and we definitely need to go into the transfer market and do some serious business. We obviously heard from Harry Maguire. He let slip. He let slip that United are planning a big summer. United are planning a big summer to go out there and get the players. Now, let's talk about last night's game, England against Uruguay. I don't know whether you watched it. I didn't watch it, I must be honest. I did watch the highlights though. And it was interesting because we saw Kobbie Mainoo back in the England squad. I mean, what a difference a couple of months makes, right? I mean, January, we were talking about how Kobbie Mainoo is going to leave United, right? Not getting any game time. Looks like he's just going to end up going to Napoli or Serie A. Might get some game time, might not. And then in comes Carrick, Ruben Amorim goes, and in comes Kobbie the Mainoo, right? And he's come in and, well, he's been solid. He's been solid. He's not put a foot wrong. We've not mentioned his name in games. We've not been saying Kobbie Mainoo this, Kobbie Mainoo that. And that is great for him because we don't want a centre mid to be, getting the headlines at all times. And sometimes when you're mentioning a player's name too often, it could always be in the negative frame. So for me, I'm really happy for Kobbie Mainoo. Again, for Harry Maguire. Again, someone early on in this season we were talking about getting rid of. I mean, he looked like he's off on his way out of United. But again, he's broke into the England squad again. But one player that stood out yesterday, and I heard lots about, was Marcus Rashford, right? Okay, do you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Marcus Rashford, I'm not happy with what he did at United. I was never happy with how he behaved, how he was behaving with the managers, his work ethic and everything else. But since he's been at Barcelona, he looks like a different player. Now, I don't want to say he'll be the same player if he comes back, But the question is there. The question is there. Do we bring back Marcus Rashford? We are looking to sign a new left winger. We are looking, I mean, that's not a secret. Michael Carrick, in his presser, has confirmed that United are going to be looking at signing a new left winger in the summer. Now, if Barcelona are not willing to put up the cash to sign Marcus Rashford, then do you know what? I think there's a chance that we should bring back this beast. He looked like the prime Marcus Rashford that we saw at United. I mean, look, it's crazy. It's crazy. But again, I'm not convinced. I want you to convince me, guys, whether we should be bringing him back, whether there's an option to bring him back. I think there's definitely an option to bring him back. I don't know whether United are going to trigger that and bring him back, or whether Marcus Rashford himself wants to come back. I don't believe that he himself wants to come back. And that, for me, is the number one problem. The number two problem is that if he does come back, does that destroy the morale in the dressing room, who are all probably worked really hard, and then they think, wait up, this guy just literally disrespected the club, has gone off, and then has come back now, and suddenly we're meant to open our arms up and say, welcome back, Marcus Rashford, and welcome back into the team, and you're going to be the star boy once again. I don't think that's going to go down pretty well. I think, look, for me, I think he's great at what he's doing right now, and I wish him the best of luck. For me, I was looking at it as another positive. I was looking at it as a positive, which I was like, okay, so right now, Laporte from Barcelona, they'll be watching this, the ones who are making the decision about paying United 20 million for him or something silly. And they'll be thinking, shit, we're going to have to up our price on Marcus Rashford, or we're going to end up losing him to another club. There'll be other clubs watching Marcus Rashford's performances and thinking, maybe we should get him. Maybe we've got a chance of going and signing him. He could get into many different teams in across Europe. He could quite easily walk into many different teams, and yeah, we might not want him back. Marcus Rashford, however, can walk into any other team. Now, Barcelona, Rafinha picked up an injury. He's out for 5 weeks, and of course, they will need a left wing replacement. Ba-bum! In comes Marcus Rashford. That's why I'm saying that we can't be silly with Barcelona. We need to hold them ransom. We need to tell them, well, look, you're going to have to pay for what you're getting. You can't just expect Marcus Rashford to just turn up and we accept something silly like £20 million for Marcus Rashford. That's bullshit. We need to be making sure we go out there and accept only a decent valuation for Marcus Rashford. I would say anything in the region of 35 mil to 40 mil is reasonable for Marcus Rashford. Let me know your thoughts anyway. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'll come to the chat in a minute. And just let me check if I've covered all the news stories that I needed to cover. There's a few more that I need to talk about. There is talk about, obviously, what's his name, man? Lewis Skelly as well. That news is hotting up. We need to talk about that. I'll come to that in a minute, but let me come to the chat first. Let me see what you guys think about this battle, transfer war, as we're calling it, against Man City. Do we win this, or is it going to be a battle which we're going to end up losing and getting pie all over our faces because we might lose out on Tonali and Anderson and might have to retreat and go and sign someone like Baleba and Gomez from Wolves or something, right? I mean, it could be worse. It could be worse. Sanas, welcome. Nish, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. I can't make sense of any of this now. Tonali, we weren't told he wants to go back to Italy. We weren't told he wants to go back to Italy, and we're paying big wages anymore, 250k a week at least. Yeah, well, this is it. This is when Fabrizio Romano dropped that news, but you got to read it carefully. So, not read it carefully, he put it on his video, but you got to listen to him carefully, which is very difficult because Fabrizio Romano talks faster than I do. I mean, he is on, and then he's just, blah, 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 and you're like, whoa, you have to, it's the only video I have to slow down on YouTube. I swear, I have to put it down to about -2 or something. Yeah, slow it down. Normally, I'm always speeding them up. But anyway, that is Fabrizio Romano. But Fabrizio Romano, in his statement yesterday, said the clubs are looking to spend big, and they're gonna blow any club from Serie A out of the water. I'm paraphrasing there, by the way. He didn't say exactly that, but you know what I'm saying. And I'm thinking, well, United are not going to do that. United aren't going to offer huge salaries and a huge valuation. I think City, however, will. And I think that is going to be where Tonali changes his mind over going back to Italy. I think he's going to think about it, and he's going to think, well, I said this in yesterday's show or the day before. I said, look, players know that they've got a finite career, right? It's not going to carry on for years and years. Tonali, this is his big period, right? This is his day where he gets to prove that, right, okay, I'm a top class player. I can play for the very best teams in the world, and this is one of those times where even his agent, even his family are going to say, screw that, going back to Italy. If you're getting paid triple what you're going to get paid, you're going to stay in the Premier League, my friend. I mean, his agent alone will be looking at his commission off the sale of Tonali going to City or United, and he will be pushing his client to say, mate, you're not going back to Italy. You're staying right here, and you're going to go and play for a club, either it's Man United or City. But I, again, feel like City are in the driving seat. I know, I hate saying that, man. I hate saying it because I just can't stand going up against City and City saying, yeah, we're gonna blow United out of the water. United need to come up, man. We cannot have a rigid salary structure. When these kind of players come along, we've got to be able to, shift. We've got to be flexible. So we're saying 100% out for Anderson and Wharton, then complete failure by Ineos, liars and thieves. I don't think we're out, but I think let me put it this way: if we go and sign Tonali, we're not going to be signing other midfielders, other big transfers, or we're not going to be spending big. Tonali will probably cost us about 60, 70 mil if we're lucky. And if he wants to come to United, I think if you're looking at near enough blowing our salary structure or getting right to the top of that bracket and paying him through our noses, do I think then United are going to go and buy Anderson or Wharton and pay big on them? I don't think so. I don't think we've got it in us. I know there's rumours flying around, reports flying around that United are going to spend in the region of like 60, 70 million on two midfielders, as in separately. But I can't see that happening with Ineos. I really can't. I hope I'm wrong, by the way. This is the clown time for Romano, bought and paid for by Ineos. We were in for Semenyo, you're right. Tonali is going back for Italy for sure. Do you know what? I don't ever believe we were in for Semenyo. I really don't think we were in for Semenyo. I think that was just PR stunt by Ineos and United. We were never in for Semenyo. Until somebody tells me that there was a concrete bid made for Semenyo, I'm never going to believe the rumours. Really can't. A ban Chitty for signing new players for 10 years, bare minimum, then checkbook Pep Guardiola leaves. Well, look, I think there was rumours about Pep leaving, and I think that was before he found out what the potential sanctions on City are going to be. I think he was ready to jump ship, knowing that the Premier League are going to come down hard on Man City. But in the last couple of months, his mood seems to have shifted from leaving City to now staying here and rebuilding the club and going again next season. I think that is because he's been given some kind of information to say City are not going to get relegated, they're not going to get a long transfer ban, and they're just going to get a huge fine. So if you're asking me today, what do I think is going to happen to City and the sanctions for the 115 charges? If I'm guessing, you can clip it if you want. I might be completely wrong, but I'm guessing they're going to be fined in the region of 50 to about 70 million pounds, right? That's huge, but they're going to get fined around that mark. I think they're going to get some kind of points deduction, but not a huge one. And then they're going to get the biggest sanction will be a transfer ban. And given what we've seen already, I think they'll get a 3-year transfer ban. 3-year transfer ban on first team players, so they can sign young players, but not anyone who's going to start in the first team. That's what I think anyway. So yeah, that's having seen the precedent set with Chelsea and everything else. I think that's the most likely option, and I think that's why Pep's had a complete change of heart, and I think that's why City are now being linked to everybody. They're being linked with everybody because they're expecting this transfer ban, and they're going to go in hard in the summer. That's what I'm taking this as, right? I just want Anderson. I would want a player who's homesick. I don't want a player who's homesick and wants to go back to Italy. Insanity. Do you know what? That's a really good point there you made there, Nish. Really good point, because that is a concern, actually. I didn't even think of it that way. Do you really? I think Jim mentioned something similar the other day as well. Do you want a player who's not 100% wanting to be in the Premier League, is homesick? Do you want to spend all that money on a player? Unless that was just fake news and it was just a way of getting himself out of Newcastle. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, that is something that United and City will have to make inquiries on. They're going to have to dwell and dig in deep and find out whether that is the case. And if that is the case, well, yeah, I wouldn't be paying that much money for him either then. I don't want City rejects. We need to put our marker down and say to Elliot, we want you and no one else. Name your price. I think that's the best way to do it as well. I think, we need to put a marker down. We need to let the other Premier League clubs know that we're not going to be pushed about. We're not the club that was around under the Glazers where we didn't really care about who we're signing. We just go and sign one player, a reject from another club, and we're happy with it. We have got the... Hopefully, we've got the right people in charge now who are actually pushing for the best players that we can go and get, not just rejects. Rob says, I'll be all over Anderson and Tonali, but it won't happen in my opinion. I think not both of them. I can't see both of them. I really can't. I can see one of them happening, and I know I'd want Anderson to happen. But if we sign Tonali, I cannot see a summer and any transfer window with Ineos in charge where we go and sign Anderson as well. It doesn't happen. It does not happen. I hope I'm wrong, but it doesn't happen. I think if we sign one or the other, either it's Tonali or Anderson, by whatever chance we have, we get one of them, then we go and sign somebody else who's nowhere near as costly as these two. That's what I think. So I think you're right, Rob. I think we're all getting excited. Of course, it's nice to get excited for once in the summer transfer window. But I also think that United will not spend that much money on just the midfield. I think they've got other problems on the pitch as well. There's talk of Luke Shaw leaving, so they will need to bring in whether it's Lewis Skelly or not, and that's what leads to the other story, by the way, guys. So the Lewis Skelly story has been confirmed. It is actually happening, as in he is available. It's not that he's coming to United, but he is available. Arsenal feel that he's their third or fourth choice left back. So he is someone that they are willing to consider offers for. So United have got a chance of signing him. And I think he's a decent player. I really do. I think he's someone that we should focus on. We should try and get. So yeah, Lewis Skelly could happen. I completely agree with Steph. 10-year ban, anything less doesn't deter them from cheating again. Well, look, I agree. I agree with Steph as well. I think a 3-year ban isn't sufficient. Isn't sufficient to put off all the rest of the clubs from essentially, cheating, right? It's cheating. It's cheating in every sense of the word. So, yes, but if the sanction isn't bad, if it's just a slap on the wrist and, a 2-year ban or 3-year ban, I think it's not going to deter lots of clubs out there who, when it comes to it and they have to spend big, I think there's other clubs who are watching very carefully as to what happens. This is going to set a very, very big precedent for the Premier League. So it has to be dealt with properly. I wonder if they're going to leave it after the summer. It could happen during the summer, but it could be after the summer where they announce whatever they're doing announce. So they might announce it. They might announce points deduction right at the start of the season. So City kind of know, right, okay, we're not going to get relegated. We need to win this many games to make sure we don't get relegated. Maybe not. I don't know. How they're going to deal with it. I wanted a left-footed and eight-footed pairing. Anderson Blaber is 8, says Niche. Look, Blaber, again, I'm not quite sure. I do hope that Anderson, there's still some chance of getting him, although it looks like he's been locked down by City. It could happen. It could still happen. Losing Casemiro is like losing Anders Herrera. In the past, he's our glue. Need new adhesive. Do you know what? I agree with you. Right now, when we play without Casemiro, or when he goes off the pitch, when he's subbed off, United look terrible. United look awful. We all have to accept that. There is a problem. And we haven't got a like-for-like replacement in Ugarte. When Ugarte comes on for Casemiro, we look like a completely different team. It's scary. It's scary how much control we lose in the midfield once Casemiro goes off the pitch. It's just insane. It's mental. We're just letting him leave just as we're going into the Champions League. Yeah, and it's on a free. I think we would have done well by going in there and renegotiating his contract and saying, look, we're not going to pay you 300 and whatever, what you're on. Let's just call it, 150 or something in that region, and we'll give you an extension. You can stay at United. Let's see how it happens. But I just can't see that being the case. I really can't. Well, we already know. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed it today. It's something that I said to you weeks ago, that Casemiro is not going to get a renewed contract. The board are not looking to renew or give him an extension in any shape or form. They want him off the books. United or Ineos want him off the books. They want to take that money and put it in the back pocket. Well, I don't know what they're going to do, because they might have to spend it big on other players. I bet City get Casemiro on a free just to mug us off for 600 a week, first class. Yeah, I can see that happening. You know what? That'd be funny. But can you imagine if it does happen and he goes off to another Premier League club and he puts in a shift for them and he's really good? That real big problems for us then, isn't it? Spurs have got more chance of singing Real players than us. Ineos, you're signing Real players than us. Real players than us. Ineos are complete wankers. Look, it's crazy. It is crazy, but we need our owners to finally prove what they're made of, because if they don't in the summer, we're gonna screw our final chance up. Do you get it? We've got a chance to keep ourselves in the Champions League once we qualify and carry on playing well. This has been a freak season. It's been a freak season, and every team around us has screwed up, and hence why we're in third position right now. I just think this is a chance we cannot afford to let go of now. Arsenal, Chelsea, Chiti and Liverpool managers are always heavily backed every window, January and summer. Yeah, exactly. They're backed, man. They get backed. Slot, look at him. Look at what Slot has been backed with. I mean, that is crazy. Look at Pep, man. He's had an awful season the season before. What did they do? They didn't say, okay, shit, we can't back this guy. They went and doubled down on him. They doubled down on him. What about Arteta, the bloody idiot, right? The guy you can't even... forget Arteta, but look at him. He's not won anything for how long? But what did Arsenal do? They didn't say, all right, okay, let's back off. Let's not give him the players he needs. They doubled down. They went and bought Gyökeres. They went and bought other players to improve that team. They bought in Zubimendi. They bought in the defender. They bought in all the players they needed to carry on. They doubled down. Whereas United, look, that's the problem with me. When I see Carrick playing, getting the best out of this team, I feel sorry for him, because I think, well, for what for? Because this board, these owners, don't give a shit. They don't give a shit whether you're doing well with the team or not. They're just going to take full advantage of you. That's all they're going to do. They get ready in themselves to take advantage of players and managers like this. That's why I feel sorry for him, because I want a manager to come in who's got a bit of backbone and tell them where to stick it if they're not going to back him. Liverpool are getting Olise, and we're probably getting a middle-aged Jemba coming out retirement, absolute wankers. Do you know what? Olise, I've always highly rated him. When he signed for Bayern Munich, I was saying, why are United not all over this? Or why are United not all over this signing? It's just obvious. There's going to be players who are going to smash it going forward. A young Elise, and I was like, this guy, we need to sign him. We need to sign him. It's one of those signings that's so obvious. But again, United just let them slip away. United just do this. This is the way United work, don't we? Stephanie said we didn't nobody pass. Why didn't nobody pass to Kobe last night? Game was terrible. Can't watch England without snoozing. Well, this is why I stopped myself. I did think, shall I tune in? Shall I watch it? And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit there, because what ends up happening is I'll watch the first 20 minutes of the game, then I'll be like, it's boring. Do I turn it off? Nah, let's wait till half time. Half time comes along, and then I think, oh, let's see the second half out now. And then second half, I watched a bit of second half, and then it's like I end up watching the entire game. And at the end of it, I think, what a waste. It is. I mean, and they're friendlies, by the way, and it gets even worse, doesn't it? I mean, England internationals in competitions, are boring. Never mind flipping. And the only times I enjoy watching England is in World Cups and Euros, but even then they become quite stressful, don't they? Grace, welcome. Hope you're doing well, Grace. I really wanted Anderson. I think he has everything. He gives me Gerrard vibes. Pay whatever it takes to get him. If I could sum it up, I would say exactly that, Grace. That would be my take on Anderson. I think he's one of the best midfielders in a generation. We cannot let this opportunity just go by us. And we need to pull out all stops to sign him. For me, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. We should have Carrick calling him up, telling him how much he believes in him and how much we need him. And I think we can convince him. I think one thing that a player likes above everything else is being loved, being wanted. That makes a huge difference. So if you can prove to the player that he's going to come and become the main man at United, he comes. And if you can show that, look, if he goes to City and he's just going to be another player, he's just going to be another part of the, huge squad, I think you can convince them. I think you can convince them to come to United. I think the heritage of United, everything else, you can make it work. You can really get it to actually happen. And I really believe in the same thing that Grace has just said. It gives me Gerrard vibes. You just need to speak to Liverpool fans. I have spoke to Liverpool fans about a month ago, and he's got his own Liverpool fan channel, runs it, really successful. And he was telling me that Liverpool need to go and sign Anderson. He's the closest thing to Gerrard he's ever seen. And he knows his football, by the way, guys. He knows Liverpool inside out. And when he said that, it struck me. I was like, what? What? You think he's like Gerrard? And he's like, yeah, he's the closest thing to Gerrard. And I was like, secretly, I didn't say this to him. I was like, shit, United need to get a move on. United need to go and sign this guy, right? And I came home and I was thinking, right, how do United sign Anderson? Now, I've been waxing lyrical about Anderson as well. I think this season when we played away to Nottingham Forest and the way his performance, he carried Nottingham Forest. He carried that team, man, single-handedly. So, yeah, for me, I'd love it. I'd love for us to sign him. Maguire can F right off transformative my ass. Well, you can't blame Maguire for it, can you? I mean, we must get him, say Stephanie. Look, I think everyone agrees. I think it's a full house. I don't think there's many of us who say that we shouldn't be going and getting Anderson. I think everyone can see it. First of all, I was just thinking maybe it's just me being, crazy analytical and thinking, right, Anderson's the guy. He stands out. Or maybe it's just me who sees what Anderson can give United. But it seems like everybody else in the chat, in the fan base, agrees. I've not heard many fans, maybe a few on social media, but you get some loonies on social media as well coming out with all sorts. And I mean, someone saying we don't want Anderson and we don't want Tonali. Let's just go and get someone like Gomez or something, and I was like, this guy's smoking something right now. I mean, what's he on, kind of thing, right? Luman, welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Can't be coincidence. It's well-planned international act of deliberately let the fans of Man United suffer for some time and let Man City fans enjoy the glory. Hope you all get my point. No, we do. I think you're right. I could be right, man. Do you know what? We can't put it past United, because United allow these stories to go on and these rumours to fly around, and because it's positive PR for them. Like I said the other day, if United are watching, if United are being linked with every Tom, Dick and Harry, every player, that increases United's, kudos. Everyone's talking about United. We might not end up signing anybody, like you say, Luman, but we might just, because we're being linked with them, everyone thinks United are still the great team that they are, and they're still going after all these players, when in reality, we've not approached anybody. We're skint. We haven't got any money, in reality. So what happens? I mean, this for me is, this summer's going to be proof whether Ineos are the real deal or not, whether they've just been dragging us along down this garden path and saying that, we want the great United to return. We're going to make United great. We're going to go and make sure we win trophies, qualify for Champions League, and get the right players in. And recruitment's really important, and it hasn't been handled well. Recruitment hasn't been going well under the Glazers. Well, if these guys are not going to go and sign the players that have become available, that we know are going to make an impact to this United team, then massive question marks over Ineos' ability to take us where we really need to be. And this is one opportunity where it's essentially dropped in their lap. This opportunity has dropped in their lap. I mean, it's not been Ineos' making. Let's be honest. They were sticking with Ruben Amorim. They were not going to get rid of Ruben Amorim. It's only when Ruben Amorim went back against him, against Ineos, did they change their mind and sack him. Now, Gray says he still don't look up and pass. Rashi is trying to do everything himself. Also, Barcelona have barely given him minutes recently. I don't think they really want him. Well, they're going to have to give him minutes now with Rafinha's injured. But yeah, I saw that. I know what you mean by him still trying to do what Rashford used to do, which was, put his head down and try and run through players, but it doesn't actually happen. So yeah, I know what you mean. Nish says, Travis, Rashi doesn't want to come back to this dumpster fire. He knows there's no vision, and he was lied to his entire career. Yeah, look, from what he's already said, I cannot see him changing his mind. He's already kind of said, I think he was with Gary Lineker and Micah Richards, however you want to pronounce it. And in that interview, he kind of said to them, look, I'm happy where I am. I don't want to go back. And I can't see, even if we wanted him back, whether it'd be a good move. So yeah, for me, definitely something that I would probably not want to do. But if I've got no choice and desperate measures kind of thing, do we take him back? Travis, Rob, Stephanie, Nish, Grace, hope all you're getting what I'm trying to say this today. Can't be that one club goes up each day and the other goes down. Something is fishy. Yeah, well, something could be. Something could be. I mean, again, this is Ineos we're talking about, and they will do things for PR stunts, man. They will do this. Sheikh Mansour actually wants to win and understands staying at top. Glazers want the money. Yeah, look, the ownership is a huge problem for me. It's a huge problem. And that's why when you come up against clubs that have got normal ownership, owners who actually put the money in rather than take money out, then you're always going to struggle because you're always on a back foot. You can't go up against them and win in an auction. You cannot win. It's just too difficult. Rashford has no place in our team again. If Barcelona want him, we should sell him to another club. Sanas, I like that. I like that very firm approach. I think that's what we need, man. We need that. Travis, slow it down to Onana's diving speed. Oh, yeah. Well, that's non-existent. That is in slow motion, isn't it? I mean, Onana would actually dive after the ball's gone into the back of the net. I mean, sometimes he would dive just for the sake of it, right? He'd be like, shit, the ball's gone in. Let me just dive and pretend I've actually tried to do something. Just ridiculous. Sometimes he would just stand there and just watch the ball go in, wouldn't it? I mean, I dread to think about them days. Luman says, Nish, you are telling me the Glazers will get money by hurting the club, as I believe the better we don't do on the pitch, the more money they will make. I think, look, that's a correlation, but I don't think the Glazers are willing to put the money in for us to do better on the pitch. That's the correlation. You need to have, the equation is always, you buy better players, you put the money in, and then things improve on the pitch. They don't improve on the pitch without the first part. They don't improve without bringing in the right players, without building the right squad. They don't just suddenly get better on the pitch and then we make more money. That's what the Glazers want. The Glazers want everything to work out even before they have to put any money in. It doesn't work like that. Rashford sell himself cheap to Barca. I think, look, for me, I think Rashford has already kind of given Barca the heads up, saying, look, I want to move here. You do what you need to do, and I will do everything in my power to get the deal pushed through. So I will say to United, I don't want to come back and I want to stay at Barca and so forth. Man City can offer free first-class flights to all players and their families and free hotel accommodation. How can we compete? I think you're talking about, is it the Etihad, isn't it? Etihad and flights out everywhere. Maybe. I think, look, United can offer something, but I guess we can't offer that. But well, I'm sure there's something that we can offer. I mean, we can offer, trips around the city. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what we can offer. I mean, Man United just can't, man. I mean, we can offer free tickets to the F1 as as guests of Ineos, maybe. I don't know. And Mbumo is on 150 and Kuna is 180, and they're further into their careers. Anderson is still a young player. Yeah, look, I think Anderson. I don't think City are going to offer him huge amounts of wage, by the way. I think City are always pragmatic with their transfers. They never go way beyond what is expected. They just keep it simple, and they just do the whole thing of join the club, you're going to win trophies. Join the club because you're going to work with one of the best managers in the world. That's what the attraction is, and it does work. It does work. Look, for me, it's something that we've got to work at as well. We've got to have that pull, and we've got to see what the advantages are that United have got. So United have got the heritage, so we need to push on that. We need to be saying, look, United are the biggest club. Commercially, you're going to be world known as a player, right? City barely get fans into the bloody stadium. Never mind stadiums around fans around the world. If Premier League don't punish Chiti properly, then all Premier League teams next season should refuse to play them and watch Premier League act then. Look, I think there will be a backlash. I think there'll be clubs waiting to see what comes of the 115 charges. Tonali wants Italy. I think he does, but I think he can also be. I think he might be wanting to come to whichever club plays him. Offer Tonali £5 free for bet on Ladbrokes to join us. Ooh, that's a good one, Grace. That's a good one. I think some of you might not get that, and some of you might. So I get that, Grace. I get that, and that's maybe a little bit below the belt, but I'll give you that one. Jim, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I don't think City will get relegated. They will make the Premier League. Too much money. Exactly. Thank you very much, Jim. Always coming in with sound, reasonable information, and I think you're right. I think I've said that. I don't know whether you caught it earlier on in the show. I said exactly the same. I said, look, the Premier League will not shoot themselves in the foot, and by relegating City or putting them in a position where they're not fighting for the Premier League or bringing in the big revenues, I think will affect the Premier League, and they will be looking at this thinking, well, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this, because it's going to affect us in the long run. So I think that's why. It's weird, isn't it? I think there should be an independent body who should be dealing with this, not the Premier League. But I think this is it. I think it is an independent court now that are dealing with it. It's independent 3 judges who are mediators or whatever you want to call them, who are dealing with it. So they might be the ones deciding the sanction. Might not be the Premier League, because City have actually appealed against and counter sued the Premier League. So I think that was just a ploy of putting them on the back foot. But yeah. Grace, I became poor because of betting and gambling, playing slot machines. Yeah, should avoid them, guys. Niche says, Jim, exactly, Jim. If it was your point from yesterday, and it's completely valid. Romano is an Ineos mouthpiece. He gets all the information directly from them. He does. I don't know if he gets it from Ineos, but he definitely gets it from people close to the club. And it could always be. But I think Romano has to do his own due diligence. He has to go and check out the information. So I don't feel like he's putting this information out just because he's been told by a source at United. He's probably gone and spoke to someone close to Tonali, and I think that's an easier avenue for him because he's Italian. He'll have links with Italian agents and players, and I think he might even have Tonali's number. He might just be texting him directly saying, you know, what you're thinking, right? Luman says, definitely salting my wounds on a boring weekend. Not fair doing that. I think this is the chat between yourselves. Sheikh, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Hope I'm pronouncing it right. I'm calling you Sheikh. It almost looks like Shirky to me. Every time I see the name, I always think it's Shirky, but it's Sheikh. I'm currently watching the Senegal game, and Mbeme, the winger from PSG, is cooking. I think he could be a good fit for United. You've mentioned this, I think, before, and I did say to you that he's a top player, but I cannot see PSG letting him leave. I cannot see him. He's going to be a sensational talent in the coming years. He's very, very good. I think he's... What is he, 18 or something? It's ridiculous player right now. I think he's going to be very good. Stephanie, what about this boring weekend? Such is the condition that I have had to check FA Cup games. Oh my God, we're struggling this month. We're going to struggle because we haven't got many games. I think the Premier League might not want to give them a transfer ban. They would be scared of City owners taking the club out of the league. Maybe a league abroad would take City. I think they will give him a ban. In my opinion, I think transfer ban is the only... If they're not going to give them points deductions, the only other alternative is a transfer ban, which is, you could argue, equivalent if you start looking at the effect a transfer ban has on a top club. I think that's the only thing they can do. I think the Premier League have got no other options. They're out of options. And can you imagine if they don't give City a transfer ban, a long transfer ban, and they don't take points off them? Can you imagine Chelsea, Everton, and all the other clubs that have been sanctioned? I think they'd appeal. They're waiting on the City situation to rectify and come out, because they might appeal then. Luman, I watched the Invisible Man film again on Netflix. I need one of those suits. I think that would be great. That I've always thought things like that as well. I get carried away thinking that's sick. That is sick. If Anderson goes to City, he's going to become another Jack Grealish, Kevin Phillips, James Trafford, forgotten. Very good point. We need you in there. Hey, we need you in there to go and convince Anderson about this, because I think that is a great thing to suggest, because that's what United need to be saying. That's what United representatives need to be saying to Anderson's representatives, and even Anderson, that, mate, you've seen players go to City and get lost in that squad. Do not become one of those players. Come in and join a club that you're going to be pivotal and you're going to be seen as a key player. For me, it's what makes the difference. What makes the difference? Nick, welcome to the channel, mate. Sorry, a bit late. Watching United legends against against Southampton legends for a charity 5-3 final result. Well, that's pretty good. Now, I'm thinking Southampton legends. Who are they? I mean, I can think of Letizia. I mean, who else would have been in that team? But yeah, interesting. I'll go and check that out in a bit. That sounds pretty cool. Large numbers are getting numbers but bigger. And yeah, so let me see. Niche says, imagine pitching Elliot Anderson and his family with an open top bus tour around Manchester City, while City are pointing at their brand new Boeing 747. Yeah, I mean, look, if we get into direct comparisons, we're going to struggle. I mean, City are always going to outdo us on things like that. United, Elliot have got tickets, F1 for you. Yeah. City, here's the actual F1 car for you. Yeah, I mean, that is the direct comparison we have. Look, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody. Make sure you hit the like before you leave or whilst you've been watching the stream. And if you're not already a subscriber and this is the first time you've jumped on the channel and you thought, Travis, who's this guy Travis and what he's talking about? Well, we give you up-to-date news on transfers, Man United and everything concerning United on a daily basis. Normally at 11 o'clock on a weekday in the morning, we come with a live stream show giving you all the latest news concerning Man United and more. And of course, on the weekends, it's a little bit more fluid. We come on and give you news on United, anything that's breaking. And today, it's all been about Tonali and Anderson and United having to fight it out against City. And we're also talking about Rashford. We did some discussion on how Rashford possibly could be back and lots more. Make sure you hit the like, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks very much to everybody who's been in the chat. Been a crazy one today, so appreciate that. Thank you very much.